while those resolutions are very good, they have not moved the party. They have not expedited the proceedings, and Saakashvili is still languishing and dying rapidly.
Well, the lawyer that you heard in there was Massimo D'Angelo. He joins us now. Hi, Massimo.
Good morning, Caleb and Chloe. Thank you for having me.
It's great to speak to you. Thanks for joining us. So that was in December, and really quite a stark update at that point from former President Saakashvili. What is the latest on his health? What do you understand?
His health since then has rapidly declined. He has lost actually over 40 kilos, so that's about 40% of his body weight. He has COVID. He is having seizures. But beyond that, while I was there and captured those tape recordings, we also took samples of his hair, his nails, and took a biopsy and collected some fat tissue around his stomach area. We sent those specimens to a lab in the United States, and they revealed heavy metal poisoning. Based on those records and his other medical records, he has mercury as well as arsenic circulating throughout his system.
Gosh. Okay, so that's the tests that you've done and the data that you have got. In terms of the case against him, is there progress on that? And I mean in any direction as to whether that is advancing and whether there is any resolution in sight?
No, there is no end in sight. There are delays after delays and filibustering with regard to the proceedings. We don't believe that he's getting a fair trial. The local government body in power there is called the Georgian Dream. The architect of that party is an oligarch by the name of Bidzina Ivanishvili. And again, there are constant delays, and in our view, the delays are simply put in place to expedite President Saakashvili's demise, the third president of Georgia. And it's a kangaroo court where he cannot get fair justice. In fact, the party in control has also thrown in jail the opposition media parties and have engaged in attacks on the opposition media journalists out doing their jobs to try to silence them. And again, it's to expedite his demise. In fact, the prison officials would not even allow me in, or my U.S. medical experts in, when we evaluated Saakashvili with a camera, so that we could observe his physical conditions on a medical level.
Gosh, in terms then of the European Parliament's resolution seeking his release on humanitarian grounds that we mentioned, has that made any difference?
It has not made much difference, and that's why we need, the Churchillian resolve of the UK, the US, and its allies. I went to Strasbourg several weeks ago. We successfully got those resolutions adopted, which call for Saakashvili's immediate release, and specifically, Ivanishvili, the oligarchs, need to address the polarization that has been created by his government. And while those resolutions are very good, they have not moved the party. They have not expedited the proceedings, and Saakashvili is still languishing and dying rapidly. He is certainly in rapid decline, and he needs to be moved out of country for immediate medical life-saving treatment.
I was reading about what was described as a groundswell of protest on his side to try to force the Georgian government to free him so that he can get medical attention. Does that bring encouragement that there is a sort of growing protest against his detention?
Yes, absolutely. And, the dynamic, the political and social dynamic in the country is very interesting. You have 80% of the people who want to join the European Union and join NATO. but you have a government that is against it and is a Putin and an ally of the Kremlin. So it's a very strange dynamic, and you always want to see the populists rising up and standing up for democratic ideals. But at the same time, you have this government in control, and there's been a backsliding of democracy and the rule of law.
I also noted as well just the sort of close relationship between the US and Saakashvili historically in the past. And actually, one suggestion from one sort of input, I suppose, was the idea of a prisoner swap to try to get him out. Is that something that's being discussed?
There is currently no discussion regarding a prisoner swap. However, as you've mentioned, Saakashvili certainly went into the country of Georgia, brought democracy there. He is, in fact, the father of democracy for the country, helped create the flag, a national identity, and helped spur economic development within Georgia itself with close ties to the United States. And that's ultimately what led to Putin invading Georgia under color of darkness in the middle of the night, sending troops to the Roki Tunnel in 2008. So Putin did exactly what he's doing now in Ukraine to Georgia in 2008. And that was all because of Saakashvili's attempts to westernize the country.